Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment in the Quickview series. Though I can't promise this one is going to be quick because I'm out of my depth. To be frank, I'm out of my depth. So it arrived in a box. We'll give you the box. You know, when the box has been taped up like that, it came straight from the place far across that big body of water. So what it is I've been pronouncing it Sequre. I wouldn't know how else to say it. S-E. Oh, I got a hole in my finger. S-E-Q-U-R-E. The ESCape32 70 amp AM32. We're seeing, I mean, this form factor right here, we are seeing a lot of these. The market is flooding with these. And I think that's a good thing, because this is the all loaded out one. I'll have a link to the Sequre Mall site where this came from. This is the all loaded out one, which is pre-built, and you'll see there's a little, piggyback on top. That is a BEC, and it is indeed adjustable all the way up to a 12-volt output, which is something I've not seen before. And then the actual ESC itself is just this little guy. So it comes with that. It comes with what might be the most important piece. This is the Sequre ESC Wi-Fi link, which we're gonna get to that, and a motor with some of the longest leads I've ever seen. A Sequre 3625 1800 kV, little pancake of a boy. We got some neodymium in there, looking pretty nice. Double the mounting holes in case you strip one out. It's nice. Sometimes you need to clock the motor just that much to get the wires. Nice flexy wire too, much more flexy than what we see. So bonus points. All of this is relevant because the whole package all in is about $70, $75. So we're in the price range of like a Fusion SE, but we've got there's a lot of gearboxes out there. I keep telling people as of recent. So what is in vogue now? It's gearboxes like this. It's gearboxes like the OD3 clone. It's gearboxes like, I don't know what this is a clone of. It's gearboxes like the Tulo. None of these boxes were designed to put a big 540 on, much less something like a Fusion, which is going to take up even more space. They want something like this. So we can get the gearboxes very economically, $30, $40. Probably, maybe, some people are looking for an opportunity to not put a $100+ power package on it. I get that. So I came out here to do my due diligence, which is figure out how it works before recording the video. And I was ready to give up. I was ready to give up. You see this guy right here. That's a USB-C, which I'm familiar with. This is the little mini programmer that comes with every Rhino speed control. USB-C on one side. You plug the lead to the speed control in on that side. You plug your battery in. You open up your little laptop that you bought specifically for the purposes of doing this kind of shenanigans, and this is what you do. You get your that is whited out. You get your BL Heli 182 software, and then you do your connection. You connect, and then you make your adjustments, and you click save, and you close it. I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get it to work because I would like to, in my own defense, mention that in that box came no documentation of any kind. I went to the Sequre Mall website. I tried to look up literally anything to explain to an old dog trying to learn a new trick. How do I make this thing work? And then it clicked in me. I was like, Wi-Fi link. But how are we going to link via Wi-Fi? Well, I witnessed it happen. There we go. That's less glary. I witnessed it happen, and I still kind of don't believe it. So you just make sure signal is on the signal side, like that. And then you plug in the motor because it makes fun noises. And we'll go even further into the fun noises thing. This is stuff that I wish I could exploit to a greater degree, but I can't. I'm still trying to learn the new tricks. So we plug those in like that. We grab ourselves a battery. Go like these. Doot. And then there's a light. There's a light on. It means somebody's probably home. And then here's where we get a little bit into the future. We go to this thing, and then there's the escape Wi-Fi, and then we connect. And it's going to connect. And then it's going to open a web page. And then there's all the settings. There's all the settings for the speed control. You know what I might try? Let's try this. Doesn't really help. I gotta make this work. Oh, I know how. There we go. Look at that. We're here together in the virtual night. It has adjustments of all of the usual parameters that you are used to. And then there is indeed, right down there, down at the bottom, there is your BEC control. You can adjust that to whatever voltage you would like. I'm running this with a direct power, but let's go to 6.5. Let's go with 6.5. Oh, wait. If it quote, LED. Right. I don't know how to... So is this only a... Like I say, we learn as we go. So, okay. The VEC just stays at 5.5 no matter what I do. But we do have all of the usual things not explained to us at all. For reverse, maximum throttle power is 100. Maximum spinner power is 15. We can reverse direction. But most fun is we can go here into the music section. I realize I'm not holding this. The camera and me aren't on the same axis. I don't know anything about music. I'm not a musician. But it says C, D, E, F, G, A, B are low notes. So I can go C, B, C, B, C, B. And then I can go play and listen. I mean, it's not necessary on any level. Does it not mean that I love it? No, I absolutely love it. Oh, look. Night mode. Let's get back up to about where we were. Thank goodness for manual mode. Now we can sort of see. I wasn't prepared. And if anybody, it would have taken one sentence. Plug in this, get Wi-Fi on there, just look for the Wi-Fi. And then you don't need to know anything else. Like over an hour. Over an hour, I'm still mad about it. I tried every programmer I could. Hooked it up to an Arduino. I tried everything. And it's like, no. I would honestly think that there'd be a fallback, right? Like it would do Wi-Fi or a wired connection. So this is one of those things. And it is not necessarily a point against it. I wouldn't consider it a point against it because basically, if you're going to dive in to this type of stuff, you have to have something that runs Windows. That's why I have this little fella. Amazon Cyber Monday, like 2 years ago, like $99. That's all it does. If the focus was clear enough and you could see down one side, like it's rubberized, if you could see down one side of it, that's all I do. It's got CastleLink, it's got BL Heli, it's got that's all it does. It has the thing to program sound modules. It's got the thing to program AGFRC servos. That's all I do. They only run on Windows because we refuse to get into the future. So now I'm anxious. I want to see what we're working with. So I am going to have to pop this out, and I'm going to have to solder on a battery lead because I don't know why the voltage is not switchable, but it doesn't matter. because we are going to try, seeing as he's the favorite of the Canyon for the moment, I think he might be in every, again, temporality, in every video this week. I think this guy was in nearly every video of the past week. We're going to throw it in there. Just because I feel like it. He's not even the best option because getting into there, I unbolt the whole thing and just drop it down out of the bottom. It's not fun. I've got to put in a JST on there so that we can get to the direct power servo, but we can do this, which is we can go up to channel 2. He's not the worst to get to, which is why I'm okay with this selection. We can plug that in there. We can make sure the radio is on. We'll hear our tones. That's really quiet. For an outrunner at full tilt boogie, and even that amount of smoothness under no load, that's really good. There's like a pulsing that I can feel. And that pulsing is, I can feel the magnets, right? Because as the magnets move across the poles, we're not censored, you know? This is basically just a brushless brush motor. We can get down right about there. Unloaded. Generally, we can get down even a little bit slower in motor speed once we're loaded. Now, they don't really super much care for being run unloaded like that. They pick up some heat. So, we are going to wire this thing up, and I don't know why, but we're definitely going to have to shorten those. It's as long as the vehicle, but I don't know what its forever home will be, so we're not going to shorten them up right now. We're going to make a big old coil of wires, and we're going to zip tie them in together, and we're going to run a test on the Sequre ESCape32 70 amp and the Sequre 3625 1800 kV in this, because this guy runs an 1800 kV, so that's appropriate. And we're going to just run him exactly with everything that he runs, Susan, with everything that he runs now. He'll have his wheels and tires back on. I removed them knowing that I was going to have to drop the whole belly out. I'll get this thing mounted up, and there's like what do you need to see? Have you ever put a motor in? It's the same thing. We'll just zip tie this in place. We're not going to do anything with a great degree of permanence because, I don't know, maybe, this is purportedly a 70 amp AM32. Again, about the same cost as the Fusion that's in there. So I have a fairly well built up mental database of information of how this gentleman performs when powered by a Fusion 1800. This is going to show me something that I like. And if it shows me something that I like, we maybe leave it in there. You never know. We maybe leave it in there. But we'll get some wheel time on it, and we'll do a little mash about, and we will see what we think. And by we, I mean me, because, well, you're there and I'm here, and soon we'll be out there. But you'll see me again in a second after this is installed, so we can kind of squidge it back and forth on the bench first. All right, am I willing to acknowledge that I probably chose one of the worst vehicles, one of the least suited vehicles in the fleet to these type of shenanigans? No! We never admit, we never accept defeat. I had to take it apart. I had to take the whole middle of it apart. Look at that sweet bend in the chassis. I had to take the gearbox out. Getting this thing clocked to where the wire wasn't radically interfering with everything. It wanted to stick out that way, it wanted to stick out that way. And then I was just kind of turning it like a combination lock that I don't know the combination to. And it poked out straight up. As I said, we have no idea how it's going to function in this vehicle at this vehicle's weight, 6-ish pounds, right around 6.5 pounds with his wheels and tires installed. So we are unwilling to cut anything, so we just sacrifice more zip ties, as we do. I buy them by the 1,000 bag, because we use a half a dozen to get this mocked up into place, and then we'll have to cut them all again. But I love this. I love the tininess of it, because initially the default setup for a Stealth X is facing backwards. Also, because of, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was when I installed the slipper eliminator, the Bauhaus slipper eliminator, I can't fit the gear cover on it. So if this works, it means I get to take the entire vehicle apart again. And then I can figure out why the gear cover doesn't fit, because on this vehicle, it being a cage, there being basically no protection to the gearing. The gears face forward, the battery's right there. We try to make sure nothing can fall into the battery. I would love to flip this around the other way and run it backwards, which means you get to take the whole Stealth X apart and reverse all the gears on the inside. So, if this works, there's probably like 2 hours of work to get it ready to put back in. And then I might make a tray that fits the ESC and the thing next to each other. Anyway, that is for a far-flung future, because we've got to see what we're working with here. Let's see. I love the little tune. Sometimes the little tune that speed controls play fill me with an aimless rage. I just want to smash things. But you know what? This one's okay. Wait. Susan is having a... There we go. I think she was... Oh yeah, the front is heavier. Good grief, everybody. Good grief and good gravy. He's done it. He randomly chose 3 wires, plugged them in, and when we pull the trigger, it goes forward. It goes forward. Is there a way to calibrate this? Some of these little, basically, this is a dolled up bare board AM32. That's basically what it is. Some of them can be calibrated. Some of them, in my experience, cannot. Anything you try, because there's no power switch. I know power switches are a love-hate thing for folks. Some people don't like them. It's a point of failure. I mean, you don't have to mount anything anywhere. I come from an era of no power switches anyway, so if it has no power switch, that's fine. Honestly, let's be honest. Let's be honestly honest. I kind of prefer no power switches overall, because I have too many vehicles and it's impossible to mount the power switch in the same place on everything. So every time I pick a vehicle up, I spin it around like it's an object of unknown origin, trying to remember where I glued the power switch on. This one, you plug in the battery, it's ready to fight. So in this instance, no power switch is A-OK by me. I want to see, now, a 3625 is a pancake. I didn't look it up to see what kind of wattage we're looking at, what have you. It's probably not a lot. I did look up. The ESC is 2S to 6S. The motor is 2S to 4S. That is not atypical. 6S capable motors tend to be a little bit of a different breed. Can I can overcome it, but you really got to lean on it. I do note we're sitting links up just a tiny little bit, because, and again, it's in literary terms, it's called the stream of consciousness. I don't write anything down. So what happens is the idea pops into my head and it bounces around. And then if we're lucky and I'm lucky and you're lucky, which makes us lucky as a group, as a collective, I remember to say the things. The motor weighs about 90 grams. The speed control weighs about 40 grams. That's fully wired with everything on it. And the 6 feet, well, I mean, realistically, probably about 16 inches of wire between the two. If this is the permanent guy for this guy, I will make a little mount for the receiver and the speed control, and I will direct wire the motor, just solder the wires directly to the pads, which will cut off a ton of wire length. Luckily, I mean, in that position that I chose here, arbitrarily, that length comes out just about right. All those wires are replaceable. You know, you can change them to whatever. So the only one that's a commitment. Okay, hold on. How low can we go? Can we do a 10? Yeah, we can do a 10. Can we do a 9? Yes. 8? Yes. It's still pretty smooth at 8. When I say 8, what does he mean? Cruise control channel 3 is set at 8% throttle. This radio, Baseline's radio, is one of those where the trims keep decentering themselves. I don't know if I've dropped it. I take that back. I have dropped it more than once. Yeah, we can move at like. So you hear it get mad now? Got that grumbly chatter? They don't like really being unloaded. So that is definitely some low speed. If we get a little angle, we can watch the name on the can twirl around. I am cautiously optimistic. We can get out of the realm of cautious optimism. That low is pretty good. We'll get right there. Higher. Right. I need to get that to hang right there. Yeah, we got no rollback. Okay, that's just gravity sliding the lugs down. If I had seen any backward movement from the tire, now yeah, it's not a perfect example. We gotta get on rock to see what we're actually working with. But definitely, certainly promising. I will keep an eye on motor temp. A lot of people take motor temp, I don't know if it's coming from a bashing background or just not familiar with how hot things get. It was the motor's sitting at about 100 degrees. 100 degrees, well, the mat that it's sitting on is 92. So yeah, it's warm in here. It's a little bit warm. Yeah. The tires are 92 degrees. So realistically, a motor up into the 140s, that's pretty normal. That's kind of a normal operating temperature, particularly when the temperature inside the building is in the 90s. So speed control heat, and in service I would cut this. There's no heat sink on there, but it is still wrapped in plastic. It's the temperature of the environment. I will keep an eye on it though, because this guy has at least seemed in all of his running as of recent to be smooth and fluid, but we did make a fairly substantial change, which is we changed out the whole powertrain. And it's not like a Fusion SE will go homeless for very long. So we're gonna rock it figuratively and literally. We're gonna take that guy out and we're gonna try out the Sequre ESC 70. No, that's not right. ESCape32 70 amp with the matching motor, and we're going to see what kind of things we find. So, a lot to run down. Let's start first with a quick view within a quick view. If you are a Costco shopper, if you're familiar with the big box store, the Costco warehouse store, I guess, don't buy the Costco hose. The $29 Costco hose, don't buy it. It's the all kinks hose. You know how some hoses are kink free and they won't kink? The Costco hose on a hose reel will figure out a way to get a kink in it. But they get me. They get me with the $29. Sometimes, and this applies to every aspect of life, I think, when you save that money, you're saving that money for a reason. And whoever Costco went with, Melnor or whoever's making that hose for them, they built a hose out of kinks. So this installment was supposed to occur in the nighttime. What you saw moments ago was filmed late in the evening. Okay, early evening, not night. Yeah, late in the evening, not almost night, but not quite. So I wanted to wait for it to get dark. Instead, I went in the house, made some dinner, sat down to watch a video or two, fell asleep in my chair, and we find ourselves out here the following morning, bright and early. The sun is barely up. Low speed is proper. What I did notice from the drive back, and this is all adjustable via software, is when you let off the trigger, boom, it is full blast electronic anchor. Coming off the throttle on the Fusion SE 1800 is sort of a slower roll off. That's definitely in their software. But this, you can get low on the Fusion. This is low on par with, or maybe a little more fine than a Fusion Pro. The thing for me is really going to be heat. What are we going to be looking at in terms of heat? So there's also that bonus reduction in sprung weight, because we probably reinstalled just under half the weight. No change to gearing. There's an 84 tooth spur and a 21 tooth pinion, 4-to-1 outside the box, because we could go bigger on the pinion, honestly. Let me see that drag brake. Yeah. That is truly and honestly, for a 3625, for a can that short, that is certainly more drag brake than I would anticipate. That is... Now, this is default settings. You saw me make an effort to change BEC. Not that it matters. We're direct power. We just need to keep the lights on. You know, my complaint at this point, any amount of documentation. Any. It doesn't even need to be in the box. Just let me go to the product page on your website and you'll be like, oh, you want to work it? Here's how you do it. But instead, you go to a software downloads page, and what's on the software? It's the BL Heli software. There's a 1.7 version and a 1.82 version, neither of which will control this thing unless they control it in a way that I don't understand. And that is entirely possible. I don't know if I have the capability or the capacity to learn new tricks. And fiddling with outrunners, I'll just come out and straight and say it. If you don't want to learn new tricks, maybe don't get into outrunners, because they have to be treated a bit differently. Of course, there's plenty of those people out there with drone backgrounds and whatnot that just, like a duck to water, they take to it. So that little bit of a reduction of sprung weight, we're not going to get, well, maybe we are. So if this is indeed the power that it claims to be, a 70 amp, that's 75% more available power than what is coming out of a Fusion SE. I still think the Fusion SE can't be beaten for the money. I am already, since cutting open that telltale yellowish manila colored since cutting open that goldenrod colored tape, it has been several hours of fiddling and futzing, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, a bit of frustration. And that is not directed at Sequre. That's not directed at this combo specifically. I've done flash hobby combos that are just as frustrating. I have a Holmes Crawlmaster V3 that was potentially more frustrating. The Rhino combos have what I've been defaulting to because they just work. Particularly if you buy off of AliExpress in a package. Now, again, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to detract from Sequre or distract from Sequre, because I wanted to get to the software portion of it because I want to see the full package, right? I want to see what we're getting for what we're spending. This is default configuration. I didn't shorten the wires. I made no adjustments to the speed control whatsoever. I just sort of stumbled onto figuring out the software. Most people would probably get to the Wi-Fi thing faster. I just did not assume Wi-Fi. I didn't, which is a plus and a minus. I mean, are you going to carry a laptop out here with you? Would it attach to a phone? Maybe an Android? Yeah. It's one of those things. I'm not a huge Bluetooth integration proponent either, because most folks, and by folks I mean manufacturers, most manufacturers don't do it right. What they do is they slave you to Bluetooth. Oh. Okay, so we're doing the cruise climb. I can tell you this right now. Get over. Get over. I had to have the cruise climb set much higher on the Fusion. Can we flip this over? No, we could break an axle housing though. Let's not do that. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. We're on a very uneven surface. No, we just skated upside down to the bottom. I feel like my memory of operating this on the Fusion is fresh enough that I'm detecting differences more than I would ordinarily. The way the power comes on, the power delivery is immediate. That's an outrunner thing. I have to keep reminding myself there's a 3625 in there. I have sampled others. The Rhino S12, which is right around the same size, is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I like the S20, the longer can. But the S20, which is I think about a 32 millimeter, for some rigs it's honestly too much. It would be too much for this. I know you're saying, too much power, too much torque, how is that a thing? Well, because we get no regulation. The outrunner is all on you. Like, it do what it do. Now, there is the possibility, let me see. Yeah, it's exactly the same. And uncalibrated. I didn't even bother to check to see if I could calibrate it to the trigger. So because again, I'll take 50% responsibility. I'll put the other 50% on zero documentation. So the power comes on right now, and when you let go of the switch, the power is off. Just there's no ramp. And the delivery is immediate. It's not FOC. So there's no software that's helping you. This is all trigger. Skated a little there. Okay, let's come across this inside right here. Can I stay inside that point? Yes, I can. Oh, I'm liking it. I'm liking it more than a little. And what do we need? We need more options, because I've just been buying Rhinos, and this speed control costs half and the motor costs half. The whole combo costs half of what a Rhino S12 combo costs. There, give or take. You can shop aggressively and get the prices closer. And it should be pointed out, the BEC, the internal BEC, which I cannot figure out and will readily admit, is peak 4 amps. So this is really comparable to the Rhino V40, which is a 40 amp, and if this one is indeed a 70, you've got more power but less BEC. Well, you've got a similar BEC. The Rhino V80, which would be more comparable to this, has a 10 amp BEC. So your servo options are completely unlocked. But again, that speed control alone costs more than this combo. I really like the motor. The motor feels great. And when I go to any combo, larger, smaller, whatever it is, if I can make no changes to gearing and retain the amount of drag brake that I want, get that tire out on an edge and just hold it, that's great. The low of this is really low. No cog, no chatter. This was similar to Muddy the Quickview further. This is a very similar experience to when I went to the double CVD, double carbon, whatever the drive shafts are that replace the universals. They smoothed out the traction profile of the front end. They'll relieve that camming common to universals. This feels like that over again, like taking that effect and doubling it and stacking it on top, because you can go so slow and the power delivery is so certain. So it's kind of all pluses. We're slower, we're lighter, we've lost no torque. Let me see this front end hang right there. The low control feels amazing. It's almost like putting a better trigger in the radio. And this is a radio that I use a lot. I love a Rhino. This combo feels really good. And I think it's a fantastic option if you've never done outrunner, because you're like 70 or 80 bucks out the door. With the programmer. I think the programmer is 10. The speed control is 40 with the BEC installed. And they also, are you a tinkerer? Is this not your first time? You can buy it all in pieces. You can buy just the bare board. You can buy the bare BEC. You can put it all together yourself. I don't want to do that. I would much rather do this, which is drive. Yeah. This is one of those instances where we can set, let's set to like 9. Let's see how that works. Too low. There we go. You could watch some suspension action work. Even that's too slow. It's got so much low end. The curve is, of course, a line. It's very linear in the power. Cruise control descent. Just locked down. Absolutely locked down. I'm a fan. I like a smooth power delivery. Oh, I didn't quite get passenger rear into the right slot. Can we? There it is. Oh, okay. It's beating a Fusion 1800, and I love me a Fusion SE. There's that little weight reduction. I'm waiting for the drawback. Now, the potential drawback, the drawback that we can't measure here under the shape and operation of a Quickview is this. We don't know what the long term looks like. I landed that, by the way. We don't know what the long term looks like. A Fusion 1800, which I consider this to be a direct competitor against, knowingly or wittingly or unwittingly, a Fusion 1800 is effectively a sure thing. You buy it, you put it in, You might have to hook up the program card to reverse motor direction, and that's it. You drive it. You drive it rain or shine, snow, sleet, hail, whatever the situation, you just drive it. And I would go so far as to say you never even think about it. Fusion goes in, you don't think about it anymore. I think I might have gotten that rear tire a little too far over. Yeah, it's like maneuverability. Maneuverability went up. And that is not what we would ordinarily anticipate. Because I have talked at some length about how, in general, not just because of price, I prefer a Fusion SE over a Fusion Pro because I don't tend to need all that wheel speed at the top end. Speaking of which, I don't know if Sequre makes that 3625 in any other KV than 1800. So again, 1800 is basically the equivalent of a 35-turn brushed motor. So you're right there in the middle. Like that's gonna fit a lot of things. But it's not gonna fit everything. Fusion won't fit everything either. I like the SE over the Pro because it is not as silky, soft, refined, like the way the power rolls on. I want power. I want power now. This gives me the softness of power because it gives me the ability to do this. To put 5% onto the trigger. There's about 10 right there. Go as slow as you want. Slower than you thought you could. Give a little power increase. We're gonna lift, maneuver it around. I want the responsibility in my hands. I want to drive the vehicle for the most part. I'm not taking away from a Fusion Pro. I think the Fusion Pro is the pinnacle of set it and forget it powertrains. Where this is definitely more for the drivers. The power delivery, it feels smoother than a Rhino to me. Now, that is anecdotal at best because I've never run a Rhino in this vehicle. He's only had there was a brushed motor in there initially and then the Fusion. That's going to be a tumbler. Overloading that quite a lot. That low and slow. That wasn't too bad. We barely touched the ground on the way down. Oh, I did want to give it a poke. Yeah, like most motors, they don't like to be just wide out, unloaded, just spun out. I'm not an engineer, so I don't specifically know why that is. I just know that they don't like it. And I remember from the days of Go Fast with in-runners, you can overheat a motor by under-gearing it so that the motor is running too wide out, just too high of RPM all the time. And that can overheat a motor as much as overloading it. So this got warm to the touch while just free spinning it on the bench. There's no temperature at all in the motor or the speed control right now. This is dry waterfall. This is not easy, but we have this surplus of low control. Ooh, very slippery. I think I need to get driver front. There's a lip there. You don't want to get passenger front too deep into, you don't want to get it right there. Oh, that's even further over. Okay, all right. You want to try it that side? Let's try it that side. If we can get the pumpkin over, oh, look at that tire. There's not a lot of grip right there. So the only, I don't have any negative. I have I have just the question that can't be answered in this format, which is, what is going to be durability, longevity? I don't know. It's been wheeled for about 20 minutes. I can tell you what the takeaways are from this. Ooh. Ooh. I heard there's a little crackle. So you might recall how I say quite frequently things like, this is how you break that. Well, heard a little crackle, yeah. Did we hear a little crackle? We heard a little crackle. Let's give us a zoom here. All right. Dooku. Right, that's fine. That's fine. Whee! So, this is a portaled axle. We have a number. Could have broken an axle pin. We could have broken one or the other end off of the shaft in the axle. This is the fun of it. This is the fun of it, is finding out what we've broken. Plenty of power in there. I feel like I've done dumber things on the 1800 and ended up in less broken than we are now. So let's see where three-wheel drive shows itself. There we go. There you go. We kind of rely on all four doing the thing. Yeah. Hey, but I can drive it back to the shop, so that's something. The Sequre ESCape32, am I getting that right? I'm a fan. This guy requires a full teardown anyway, because I would love to leave that system in there. I think it's perfect. I have a lot more things where the 1800 is applicable. I want to flip the gearbox around. I want to do the whole thing. He's going to get a spa day this early on. Luckily, he doesn't have any tire tests imminent, so I'll thank you for joining me for this one. I invite you to hit me up in the comments below. Tune in for whatever comes next, and in the meantime, please one and all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon, where hopefully on that day we break less. Although, I mean, it's a shaft. I might have one. If I don't, he's down for a day. You know, I can just order cheap replacement shafts off Amazon. We did all right. I'm on board with the system. Links will be in the description below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. After credits. Literally exactly where I anticipated the failure. The old ka-chow. These are the ones that came with the $100 Amazon axles, so really not unanticipated. And look at the amount of surface that we've got down at this end, right? And then look at the amount of surface we've got down at this end. So, you know, you put some 2.2 LP ruptures on there, you do some dumb stuff, and hey, this is no time fast forward. I was outside 5 minutes ago. Dug into the drawer. I have five. I have 5 extras. Well, now I have 4 because that was just a loose one. I have 2 sealed packages because all I can figure is either anticipating the breakage of one of these. Nope, I just remembered. Climb aboard. I went to order rear axles for a 10-3 straight axle, and the seller sent me Capra shafts, and I was like, that's not right. And then I forgot about those, built a set of Capra axles and ordered them again. So 2 sealed packages. So when this one breaks, almost inevitably with the way I drive, hopefully the double cardioids up here will hold up. We're set. So nothing wrong with these guys, because, like, honestly, what's not to like? I like the price, I like the performance, I like a nice free weight reduction. We're already tacking on. Let's tack on. I said it was 90 for the motor and 40 for the speed control grams. Fusion 1800, 201. So you're dropping right around 3 ounces. Right around 3 ounces, because we're going to pull a ton of wire off of that. I also realized driving back, watching it, much as I want to flip the gearbox around and run spur back, We can't because we're offset pumpkin and the drive shaft has to be on that side. So next time you see him, he will indeed still be spur forward. Let's reset that. But everything will be, you know, so we're running with it. We're going to clean it up. We're going to set it up. I'm going to make a play. I'm going to make something to mount electronics. I've got tinker time on hand. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Isn't it nice when you can break a thing? I only rock crawl. I never break parts. Then you need to rock crawl more. I'll see you next time, everybody.